Hello and welcome. This is Kristen from the Online Selling Show, and I'm back with another weekly update. Apologize, I've said it before, I am not editing anymore. If I tried to edit, I would never get these videos up. So I just would rather have the information out there, and hopefully if you're not minding that, we can be friends. We can be subscribers here. That means hit the subscribe button on Facebook, and let me get into it. So I like to share my whatnot numbers. I know I started this platform talking about eBay. I still do some eBay. We'll talk about what I have going on for eBay. But for those of you not familiar with whatnot, it is basically, in my opinion, where eBay and QVC have kind of made a baby, okay? It's a phone app, and it is live selling with auction occurring in the platform. Hopefully that makes sense. So, big thing over there is how many followers you have, because the more followers you have, the theme and premises, the more people that'll come into your shows, more people that'll bookmark your shows, meaning more sales. I'm agreeing with that, but I don't know if that's all has to be that way. So right now I had last week on September 30th, I had 1,700 followers. I have currently 1,800 followers. Now, that is not exact. I will not know how many exactly I have at this point, because it will not roll over to 1,900 until I get to 1,900. Think of like a car speedometer. Until I hit that next milestone, it does not flip over. So roughly I gained 100 followers this week. The amount of items sold, same thing. It was 6,700 last week, and I have 7,000. So in the ballpark of 300 items were sold this past week. I had 589 reviews, and this week I have 606. Again, I remind you, it's not based on the number of items purchased, it's the actual how many buyers. So if a buyer buys 5 things and another buyer buys 50, they leave a review, it counts as 1. It does not matter. Now, they can buy in different shows and leave it. It is based on the show and the individual buyer. So gained 17 reviews this past week. This past week, I held 4 shows. So I left you last week, and I talked about where I've gotten to a point that I needed to reorganize, relabel, all kinds of things with the business and the inventory. So last week, I ended pretty much everything in my eBay store. To go through a brief history, when I got restarted back into this, I thought I was going to be doing like Goodwills and clothing and yard sales, and I thought I would do the clothing because it's readily easily able to be purchased. It doesn't break for shipping. You can, gauge ahead of time basically how you're packing it. Can keep a lot of stuff in a small area, but I knew I had to learn a lot about the brands and things, and I was doing that. And then I started to discover how much I loved estate sales. This was not something I explored in my past at all. And when I started to do that, clothing is not, it's there, but it's either you need to go very vintage and know very vintage stuff, or you're getting a lot of like one size and one brand, because most people tend to, buy the same type of stuff. So, maybe you're going to get a nice one, but they also want a lot more money at estate sales. And I love the estate sales. I've done a video on this because weather doesn't count. It doesn't matter. I'm not driving all over the place trying to find them. You know ahead of time where they're at, what they're selling. You can do your research. You just have to be successful in getting in and finding, and basically it's like a mad dash, possibly. So when I started to get into that, I moved more into the home goods, and then it was, of course, Christmas was there, so I will find Christmas wherever it may be. The Christmas goods are where I've kind of settled again, and my niches, I have many niches even within Christmas, so I really highly recommend it. You get into a niche, but don't think that that niche is the end of the niche. There could be niches within, and I will talk about the item I purchased last week in a minute. So I have a couple niches for it. I've talked about doing shows with a theme, so you could just do a theme as a brand, a size. You could do all kinds, be creative in what your show may be. This particular week, I had a few things that I'll talk about in my ideology of what was going on with this. But let me finish what I did with eBay. So when I went through, I donated all the clothes. Quite a few other things, just I knew were just going over to Goodwill and out of the house. I then took some stuff that I felt still had some value, maybe about 15, 16 items roughly. I listed them as an auction with a $9.99 value or above and put them out to auction. Out of those, let's say 15, I sold 3. I have to make a decision now what I'm going to do with the other roughly 12 items. We'll see if they're going to go to Goodwill. They're going to go through the same process. So I pretty much ended everything other than my printed paper from Stampin' Up and a few items I listed recently. Then the third category of what I did with stuff is there was some of it I just put right out to Facebook Marketplace. Maybe it's too heavy. I don't want to be bothered shipping it, whatever it may be. Put some stuff out to Facebook Marketplace, get rid of some of that stuff. That way, still have some there. See how long I want to sit on that stuff that's still remaining. And then some of the stuff I thought, okay, I'm going to put it into a Whatnot show and just list it cheap and let's get it out of here. So that show was Thursday night. I had some Anna Lee dolls that have been just sitting around the house that needed to go. And I paired them up with these other items that have just been either they're mine and I want to get them out, or they were just some of the items I purchased that were leftover stuff. And I did a Thursday night show. Did very well with getting rid of a lot of it. My problem was I was losing my voice and I could not physically speak. I was an hour and a half and it was like, I have to go. I can't do this. So got rid of quite a bit of stuff that night. Again, doesn't have to always be specific. I did Anna Lee in the title for these Christmas dolls and put a few other things up there. I think I had some, whatever, I don't remember whatever the other items were, but got rid of a lot of that stuff by doing that clearance out mode. Then we went to Friday night show, and in Friday night show, I was getting so frustrated. Again, I didn't feel all that hot, but people were making requests and I couldn't find the items. We've kind of slipped up. I've said the way I like to do things is that I like to list the stuff individually ahead of time so people know what to expect to come in. When you do that, I feel like it really brings more people into the show. People will bookmark the show. They'll come in. They'll spend more time there because they're looking at what you have. They can get a vibe of what you have is what they want. They can make the requests now because it has an item number and tell me I want to see number 81. They can pre-bid on the items. The other thing is it allows me to maybe take that same item that was going to be in Friday night show and show it in Thursday nights because I can move it over with a click of a mouse. So I highly recommend doing numbers. And then there is another section of the shows that I highly recommend, and I was going to talk about this later, but we'll talk about it now, is having a buy now section of your show. There is definitely, I'm always selling 1 or 2 items out of the buy now of my shows. What happens is once I've shown something in a show 3 or 4 times and people really don't show an interest, I can move it over with the click of a mouse and put it into the buy now section of my store, and it is available there for them to buy now and add to the show's auction winnings that they may have made. So highly recommend that, but I like to give everything an item number, and people were asking for stuff and I could not find it. It was so frustrating. I actually think there is 2 items that people have purchased that we can't even find now. So I say all that because I was getting very frustrated and I thought I need to reorganize everything. One of my premises was that, okay, if I'm going to list stuff for this week's show, I'm going to start them with a number of 100, 101, 102, whatever that may be. And then next week I started with 200 and 300. Well, I had these huge gaps in these numbers. Things were getting very convoluted to find in that reasoning. And I thought, okay, it is time to condense, relabel, get all these things in numerical order from 1 to whatever. Again, let's pull it all together. And I had some free time on Sunday before I had to go somewhere. And I thought, I'm going to just do a pop-up show. I'm going to just do a show and let's see. I got rid of so much stuff, and I didn't even have to mark this stuff dramatically down. I just put it up as a pop-up show. I did a time that was not my typical time, and people were coming in still, lots of new buyers. So Definitely doing different time than what has been your normal pays off. I only had an hour and I had to tell people I got to go. I had to be at an appointment and I had to get that show cut off early as well. So, you know, not every show has to be these long shows. If you need to just pop in, so be it. I did a crafty stash last night as a show. I had some miscellaneous stuff left over from previous shows. I really didn't think it was going to be an hour's worth of time because I did not think I had that much. It was a 2-hour show and I got rid of almost every single thing I had. Great, great, great. The only thing is I did do dollar starts and I had one of my viewers commenting about, you know, come on, she's always been great with and fair with her prices. You know, she's not making anything with $1. And I didn't know what to say to that. And she sent me a message, private message, and apologized. And I appreciated it. But I just commented, right now it's fine. Buy whatever you want, even if it's $1, because I just want to get it out of my house. So I did a lot of shows this week that really weren't a lot of prep in them or a lot of advance notice, and was still able to make some good sales. So definitely recommend labeling your stuff with a number. Definitely recommend having some kind of theme for a show if you can. And I definitely recommend just try everything. Try different things, different times, whatever it may be. Get this stuff in front of buyers, and you're going to be surprised. The stuff will move. So some of the things that I want to touch on was followers. I found now, especially the more that you're getting traction, obviously the more people are bookmarking, the more people that are coming in. I am seeing that the number of sales, not the dollar value of what's selling, but the number of orders are accumulating more. So we are growing. One thing I'm finding is that now there's probably about 20 or 30 on average followers per show that we're getting. I'm rating people every show when I add. That is helping. It is getting more followers and more of my recognition of my name out there. One problem I have to keep paying attention to is there is a message request under the message tab, and they don't alert you to those, so pay attention. There was a raid I had been invited to this past weekend. I would have participated in, but I didn't see it until the weekend that they were actually doing it, and it was too late. Then I am seeing people following me off this shows, and I think it's because people are coming in, they're seeing what they have coming up, and they want to follow me to see what else I have. Definitely helps to have future shows scheduled in the show that you're already doing. So I did the craft show. If I had one for next month, I would have recommended it, but I don't have anything right now. I don't have anything on the horizon coming, so I'm not scheduling that. But like every Friday, I have a show now. It's on the schedule because I know I'm going to be doing them. They're on there. The people that are here now can bookmark. So when I did my pop-up show, I mentioned Friday nights, 9:30, people are going over there. I know they're hitting it because they're asking me about timing and stuff. So definitely recommend making sure your shows are pre-scheduled. And then one of the other things this week, I got myself some notes written down over here. Multi-sourcing, multi-selling is definitely a thing that's needed in this business. Definitely go out there. The Facebook groups have been a huge win for me in the past couple of weeks. I had a nice huge haul come in. I put a teaser up in this one group I just joined. It is very knowledgeable about vintage Christmas. People started tagging themselves in my post and asking questions about how much I wanted for something, personal messaging me. Now, when they sent the personal messaging to me, a lot of these items were items I didn't know the value of. And I had told them flat out, I don't know what this is valued at yet. I probably will be putting them in a Friday Night Whatnot show and running an auction so I can get a vibe. Well, a lot of people were like, they didn't know what Whatnot was. Probably out of about a dozen people that did not know, I said to like 3 or 4 of them, here is an affiliate link. I didn't say it to everybody. It just kind of was part of the conversation. If they seemed like they were inquisitive and wanted to go, I sent them the referral link. I think they get like $15 to spend in my show, and I get $5. So far, I've had 2 people that have done that, and I've only recommended it to maybe 4. So I've gotten $10 to spend on the platform. So I recommend looking at it for that point. But I don't put the messages in the Facebook group themselves. It is just naturally through the conversation from them personal messaging me. But honestly, I've probably gotten 15 to 20 people through that first post going up as the teaser. I sold about 6 items right after that, like the next day or two. I sold 6 individual ornaments that I kind of were able to get a vibe for their value from. I had one of them join in the Friday night show, bid some stuff up, and then this Facebook group will, on the first weekend of the month, do what they call auctions. So Friday, they shut the site down and all posts have to be admin approved. We were to submit up to 8 items that we wanted to put into the auction. It started very early Saturday morning and went through till Sunday night. If you're not familiar, basically every comment that you want to make is what you want to bid. So if I started the bid off at $10 and somebody said, okay, I'm going to pay 10, somebody else made a comment and I'll pay 20. And this goes through that they can comment what they want to pay for the item up until the time that it cuts off. I sold 7 of the 8 items that I put in. I was very, very happy with that. I liked the fact that these people that were in this group were very knowledgeable, so they knew the value of what they were bidding on. I made a lot of photos to show in there. I may not have been able to really understand or know what the value of these items were, but they did. And I, like I said, was very happy with that. I'm already looking ahead now to next month's, which will be the first weekend in November, what I want to put in for that show as well. And these items are great because they're going to pay their shipping. They're going to pay exactly like they would, let's say, for eBay, but I'm not paying any of the commission. It's just what I will pay to PayPal, and that's it. So there is that advantage to Facebook groups. They're there for the education and knowledge, but they can also be there for the buying. So make sure you check out Facebook groups, make sure you understand their rules, and check out what things they can bring to the table. I had another instance from this past weekend of 3 of the things that were ornaments. I did not understand what they were. I just put it out there to get help. I've already had 2 of the moderators contact me wanting to buy this one item. Little sticky situation. I still just barely learned what it is. I don't really know what the value of it is. And both of them want to buy it from me direct. What they don't know is I have about 6 of these items. So they may both be able to get it. We'll see. But I'm really looking at this as an opportunity to probably put something in next month's auction for that. We shall see. But definitely do not overlook your Facebook communities. They can be a help. One of the things I bought last week was an item that was a specialty item. I've gotten about 4 of them in the past year and a half. These were the items I made mention that a sales rep was trying to get me to sell, and I just kept poo-pooing like, oh, I don't want to be bothered with that. Well, let me tell you, I have bought them and resold them for some good money. And this is the item I said that was not as large as I thought it would be, and I had to make like lemonade out of lemons because it was an hour one way for me to go get it. And when I got there and saw that, I thought, I'm not making the hundreds I thought I was going to make. I bought other stuff. I'm going to tell you, in this 1 week, I put it up in the Facebook group and I put it on eBay. I did not put it in Whatnot because it's that much of a niche product that I didn't think anybody was really going to know it. And somebody bought this item I got for $70. They paid $170. So I did make some money off of that, and it was eBay that saved the day on that. So I'm not giving up eBay. They all have their own place and reasoning for why I use them. And I'm using them for many cross postings of stuff. I'm selling some old store stock this way right now by using that. So definitely don't think that you're going to just stick in one sales platform or think that I don't have a value for you if you want to learn about eBay and I'm just talking about Whatnot. Maybe you'll think about giving Whatnot a shot, because for me it is the fastest turnaround I'm finding for goods. and I may not make the top dollar, but sometimes being able to turn it quickly is better than sitting on it for a year and making more money. The slow dime, fast nickel mentality. So I'm going to sign off for this week. I appreciate you listening this long. If you could, please leave me a thumbs up if you got anything good out of this. Please leave some comments down below if you got anything you still have questions on or anything that you want to share. I would appreciate it. And like I said, don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot. I'll catch you next week. Bye.